watch more Star Trek? Hi.
Hey, everybody. It's Dr. Trek and...
Cadet Alice.
It is. She's got her rank back. Okay. And what are we doing today? We're talking about... Janeway. Oh, wait.
Today we're going to be talking about what Janeway is.
Yes. Well, actually, she's part of it, isn't she?
Yep.
It's... What is the show we're watching called? Any day now.
Prodigy?
Prodigy. Yeah.
I thought you were talking about like the episode's name.
Oh, the episode's name was Preludes.
I couldn't remember that.
Yeah. Do you know what prelude means? That's kind of a fancy word. Prelude means something that comes before. Like Janeway was listening to a Chopin prelude, which came before, which is cool because what does it mean? It means everybody's story, right? In this case, it's what came before we knew them. So we got their, what's that word you like to say?
Backstory.
Backstory, right. We even got the Diviner's backstory, didn't we? And Essentia's backstory, or the Retributioner, or whatever her name was. Well, we just watched it. And what did you think when it was over? I think you were kind of like overwhelmed.
Like at the end of the episode, like Janeway came in and then she literally got smacked out, and I was like, ah, I can't look.
I can't look. Yeah, you were kind of really feeling bad for Janeway. Do you think she's okay though?
Yeah.
I can't believe they're not going to kill Janeway partway through this. No, not Janeway. She's a major historical Starfleet Star Trek person. They're not going to kill her.
Well, she's part of Starfleet, so I don't quite know if
Yeah, well, I think they need her for the story. But this was, what did you think about this story? There was a lot in this episode, wasn't there?
Yep.
Why? Did it feel kind of full? Why was it so much, do you think?
I felt like it was like kind of like scary in some parts, especially the end.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh, I can't look.
Yeah. But it was amazing because what happened at the end? They know who the kids are, right? They know they're not thieves.
Yes.
What did she say at the end? She goes, they aren't thieves. They're just kids.
They're just some kids, and they're like, they're not the enemies. We're gonna find out. And then she was just like, the name Diviner.
Mm-hmm.
And then they went into talk, and then she was just like, what is going on in here?
Well, first of all, she sees her Essentia, her Trill, is not really a Trill. She looks like the Diviner's people. And that huge, looks like a killer robot standing there, right?
And she's just like, what is going on in here?
Uh-huh. And then the Diviner karate chops her in the neck. Yeah, almost kind of like a real rough Vulcan neck pinch up there. So this show is called Preludes because it's like all the backstory, all the before things. And most of it was about what? About the kids' backstories. Who all did we find out about?
Also, I have Murf with me.
Uh-huh. Well, now we have to call him Baby Murf now?
Yeah, sure.
I think we have to call him Baby Murf.
So, rock-a-bye, baby, rock-a-bye.
Okay, well, maybe not that baby a baby. Murf fell on the phaser button and fired phasers a couple times, remember? So he's not quite a baby. But hey, so who all, this was a big show. We finally, how many shows have been watching episodes? 15, 16 shows? We finally found out
1,000.
1,000, feels like it. But we finally found out where everybody came from, didn't we?
Yeah.
Hey, come here.
Nah.
Tell me about who you enjoyed. What did you think was the most interesting? Who was the biggest surprise? We found out about who? Jankom. And we found out about Zero.
I would probably say Zero. He had a very tough time, Zero.
Why do you say that?
Because, like, I can't believe, like, we saw Gwen. Gwen was looking at him.
Well, what did she say after it was all over? She didn't know back then. When she was a kid, she was doing what her dad told her, right?
Yeah.
And she said, I'm so sorry, didn't she?
Yeah.
But it's kind of cool to see Zero's people. You haven't seen the original series episode where we had a Medusan. It was called Is There in Truth No Beauty? And that was weird because all those apparently the Kazon are running around providing kidnapped slave people. But they were all wearing this red shield that Spock had to make. Spock made that so he wouldn't go crazy. Apparently, most humanoids, when they see a Medusan just naked, just floating around like that, they go crazy. Just like the Diviner. Remember when he saw Zero?
Yeah.
And the Diviner went, crazy, lost his memory? Well, that's what happens to people.
Also, when, when Dale was just like, don't look, don't look, don't look. And then she accidentally looked at his, Starfleet thing and it reflected, and she saw it.
Yeah. But she wasn't, it was just a little tiny bit, and they were able to save her, weren't they?
Yeah.
That was a scary moment back then. But that was really cool. You know what, though? This Prodigy episode, Preludes, we had never seen a bunch of Medusans together, like on their planet or out running. It was cool. He was like watching that little alien bug and then the alien thing that ate the alien bug. It was kind of funny for a minute.
Yeah, that's funny.
But then it was weird. Those Kazon came and hunted Zero, and they put him in a box. You know, they kind of shocked him with their electric sticks and put him in a box. So he was like kidnapped. And the Kazon took him away and took him to the Diviner and Gwen, even though she said okay. But Jankom, what about his thing? That blew me away, gang. I was like, Jankom? Wait, Jankom is older than the Federation? He said he was from Teleprime before the Federation, which is 200 years ago.
Also, he had a tough time with that robot.
Well, he woke up accidentally first, ahead of time. And while he was running around fixing the ship, that ship would have gone broke. And then all those sleeping Tellarites would have died because the systems would have malfunctioned. Also,
at the end when he was trying to get to sleep, it was just like, oxygen levels are going down. He's just like, you liar, you dumb robot.
But how about that? He realized that because he had been up running around fixing everything, he fixed it and let them live. But he was using so much oxygen that they weren't planning on that much being used. And now there won't be enough for everybody. So he left. Did you catch that? He made a sacrifice. He left so that the rest of them could wake up when they're supposed to. And there would be enough oxygen for them. Otherwise, they would all choke to death. Even when they had a ship that worked, except it didn't have enough oxygen. And then what happens to him? He gets captured by some Kazon. And that's how he winds up at Tars Lamora with the slave mining kids.
And remember Rok-Tahk's? Oh my goodness.
Whose story did you think was the most interesting? We had Zero's, we had Jankom, the ones we didn't know about before, and Rok-Tahk. That was amazing. She had to fight. That's the way a lot of people used to have to be in circuses and sideshows, and if people were a little different, they would earn their money by just people walking by and paying a ticket to see them. And that's what happened to Rok-Tahk. She was like being the villain in the fight, but it was all pretend, wasn't it? It was all a show until what happened finally?
She was just like, I'm sick of this. Take this.
She was tired of always being the bad guy, right? The monster. And then it was funny. What happened when she decided to change things? What happened?
And then her boss sold her.
Well, when she wouldn't play by the show, right? They had a little script. And when she said, you know what? I don't want to be the monster. I want to be the hero. In fact, I want to get some laughs. Ha ha! Here, step in this fruit. And the poor guy, the other guy who was supposed to be the hero fighter, he was like, wait, I'm confused. I'm supposed to be the hero here.
And she was she was just pretending to knock out.
Mm-hmm. But after it was sad. We had that little kid came up, and she came out and said, "Oh, look, it's one of our fans." But the fan was so freaked out because she was supposed to be the monster, right?
And she thought it was all pretend.
Well, she knew it was pretend. I guess. What do you think? Do you think Rok-Tahk finally realized that as long as she had to be this role in their little game, that for money, that nobody would ever know her as a real person? Do you think that made her kind of sad?
Deep down, all she wanted was to have fun in her life.
Mm-hmm. But I think it kind of scared her. She was like, "Oh, look, somebody enjoyed our show," and she came out to really say hi. And that little Cation went and freaked out, and she was like, "Oh, the world,
not again."
Yeah, she's like, "I'm not a monster. The world is never going to know who I really am because I do this all the time, right?" But before she could do anything, she gets kidnapped and sold off to the diviner. Wow, everybody had a. And we know Gwen's and we know Dal's. Who was the only person that didn't tell us their story?
Janeway. Oh, Murf.
What'd Murf do?
Murf can't even talk. He was just like blah, 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 blah,
and then what did he do? He went.
And then he burped.
He burped.
That's my backstory.
Mm-hmm.
I burped.
Now here's the thing that you don't know, but we know this because of Voyager, the whole show Voyager. When they said, "Janeway, tell us about the real Janeway," before she was a hologram. And what did she say? Do you remember what she started to talk about? She said something about Molly. Mm-hmm. Do you know who Molly was?
Nope.
Molly she had a pet dog. She had an Irish setter, big kind of red long-haired dog breed. And Molly was about to have puppies when the Voyager took off and wound up being lost and gone for 7 years. And for the first year or two of Voyager being lost and gone where it can't get home, she used to wonder about Molly and how her puppies were doing. She never got to see them. But Molly was her dog. So they said, "Janeway, tell us about Janeway," before she was a hologram. And so that's what she started to talk about, was Molly, her dog. I don't know. This was kind of a big episode. There was a lot in this, wasn't it? All these stories. Oh,
but she didn't tell us how she became a hologram.
Well, I think Starfleet just said, "Hey, Janeway, we need to make a hologram of you to teach future cadets." And she said, "Okay, it's an honor." I think that's what happened with that. Because the real Janeway, what happened to her now?
She's knocked out.
She's bonked in the head, yeah.
Wait, but if they're like the exact same, like how do they have like different hairstyles and?
Well, that was like the Janeways.
Yeah.
Well, the the real Janeway is the way she has her hair, and then the holodeck Janeway, the hologram Janeway, is the way she had her hair at the beginning of Voyager. You know what's funny? There's a whole saga, long story about Janeway's hair keeps changing all through Voyager. But it had nothing to do with...
Kiss and mate.
Oh, he is.
Kiss and mate.
Well, Baby Murf is kind of cute. There's a whole thing about how the people that made Voyager kept wanting her hair to be different. But the other thing about this show is what we finally found out. We finally found out the mystery of the protostar, right? Like, why is it buried in a planet in the rock? We finally found out. We found out about Chakotay. That they went through a time tunnel. Did you keep up with this?
Nope.
It was kind of complicated, wasn't it?
Yep.
Now, when we weren't watching the show, I did try to help you with it, right? I tried to explain it a little bit. So Chakotay and his crew on the real protostar got to the diviner's planet, Solum, and he didn't mean to be there, and they didn't mean to interfere, and they didn't interfere, but by not interfering, they did interfere. And what happened? The people who were scared and the people who were excited fought each other. And they said the only way we're going to fix this is to go back in time and not let it happen. So we'll just mess up the Federation. But what happened? Chakotay was smart and his crew escaped. And what'd they do?
They ended up getting onto Starfleet again.
Yeah. Well, they just sent the protostar off on its own through the time tunnel, right?
Yeah.
It's like, well, nobody's going to have it. You won't have it and we won't have it.
So nobody's going anywhere.
So 100 of the Val-Nakot people, the diviner and the retributor, whatever her name was, they all took off. They each had a dreadnought robot with them, which is why she has one with her hidden in the table now. Which was a surprise, right?
Yeah. Did she need... I don't even know how she opened it.
Oh, they always have buttons. She had it wired for just this. She knew when she took off with Janeway. What did she say? "I found Janeway. She's hunting Chakotay. I'm going to hunt Chakotay, and I'll just pretend to be this other person."
Wait, but did she paint herself? Wouldn't she need to style?
Oh, they have medical science in the Federation. They have ways of changing their appearance now. It's temporary. It's not forever. Plus, I don't know what the Volnakot people can do about changing their appearance. Her native species might have been able to do that. But people get disguised as other races and things. It happens all the time in Star Trek. You'll see some more of it happen too. We'll watch some more Star Trek someday and you'll go, oh, Captain Kirk's being a Romulan. Oh, Riker and Troy are being Mintakans. Anyway, that's a thing. They have sometimes they have like fake makeup, almost like makeup for a movie would be. Sometimes that's all it is. But it got really, there was a lot to listen to in this episode, wasn't it? Were you able to keep up?
Well,
Well,
that's my Murf voice.
That's your Murf burp voice? Well, I don't know. So we still, you know what? So Murf burped. Hey, Murf burped.
Yes.
But we still don't know his story, right?
Was he made in a slime factory?
Well, he has people. He was born and he wound up on the slave planet, on Tars Lamora. We still don't know. Someday we'll get his story. Do you think?
Right.
Someday we'll get Murph's story, don't you think? Well, hey. So this story ends up with Janeway. Janeway was just about to get the what? She was just about to find the truth, right?
And then she got knocked out.
So what does that mean? I guess that means we have to come back next time and see what happens to her.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. You ready? You know, this was like, there's only like 3 or 4 more stories to go in the season. Do you think we're going to get all the answers?
No.
Okay.
That's my no.
Okay. That's your no? Is that your Murph no? Well, how about saying a Murph goodbye? Are we ready to go? It's the famous flying Prodigy mug, and I guess it's time for us to get out of here. So everybody join us next time.
Murph, I'm not going to drink you.
Murph, I'm sure he's relieved. Hey, you know what I didn't ask you, though? What was your favorite part of today? What was your favorite part of this story?
When I got the backstories.
When you got to hear about all the kids?
Mm-hmm.
What about hearing about the diviner and his planet?
That was cool, too.
That was even if it was kind of complicated? Okay. Who was your favorite character today?
Ned.
Murph?
Yep. Because he was acting cute to me.
He was acting cute to you. Okay. Well, you know what I think? I mean, Jankom was kind of...
Well, actually, it was... I liked hearing... I kind of liked the...
Yes. Jankom's story? Huh? Whose story? Zero?
Zero.
Oh,
I
okay.
thought that was cool.
You like Zero's story the most?
Yeah.
Okay. You haven't said a whole lot about Zero. He's just kind of this floaty gas in a ball, right? With a robot body.
It's like he's like the ketchup is like him, and then the like plastic container is his robot body. It's a ketchup.
Okay, except he does better than just go on hot dogs and French fries.
Yep.
All right. Well, we sure learned a lot, and I bet we'll learn a lot more next time, won't we? We got to find out what happens to Janeway. But they got the Protostar engine. They got the protocore going again. We'll see what happens. Hope you're not scared next time.
See you next time.
We'll see you too next time, everybody.
This is saying goodbye in Murph. Mem, 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 mem.
And I'm saying goodbye in Trekland, which is Trek well, everybody.
Yeah. Trek well.